Hi everyone, good to see you again on this great Tuesday. And today we have a very nice subject that we would like to discuss with you. We have two guests with us today from Israel actually, and the idea is to discuss about logistics. So Moshe, please introduce yourself.
Hola a todos, buenos días, good morning everybody. Moshe Nahumson, parte de la comunidad empresarial de Tijuana. Un amigo de Carlos. Carlos, muchas gracias por la oportunidad de hablar aquí en el foro de ITAC. ITAC, definitivamente uno de los motores más importantes de promotor de economía en la región. Soy parte del club de empresarios, soy parte del consejo y al recibir esta invitación, encantado de la vida para promover lo que es empresas que vienen de mi primer país de patria, donde nací y crecí. Hace 18 años llego a esta región, hoy orgullosamente mexicano, y es un honor estar en un panel uniendo estas dos patrias que tanto quiero. Muchas gracias, Carlos.
Thank you so much, Moshe. And Adam, please.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having me. My name is Adam Simkin. I'm based in Tel Aviv, and I'm the VP Business Development at Autofleet, a startup in the area of smart transportation and smart logistics. Previously, I've been working in transportation and mobility for almost over 5 years, previously working at a ride-hailing and on-demand delivery company called Get, and we've been working on Autofleet for just over 2 years, and working with fleets to optimize their operations and launch new and on-demand and last-mile logistics business models.
Well, thank you, Adam. It's actually a great introduction to yourself and what you are doing right now. And well, as Moshe, and thank you also for that very nice introduction. Already explained by Moshe, DATAC or Tijuana ADC promotes the business within this region. And the idea today is discuss about logistics. For us, logistics is a very key aspect of doing business. It's definitely one of the aspects that we need to consider when we introduce new business or new companies to this mega region. So, Adam, from your perspective point of view, what is the most important key aspects for logistics when your customers ask about it?
Absolutely. And maybe actually let me also share my screen and show you one of the examples that I think illustrates the challenge the best. So one thing, just while that's coming up, as you said, logistics, and whether that's transportation or delivery of goods or the supply chain, that really runs businesses. No matter what industry you're working in, you have to move things from place to place. You have to move people from place to place. And one thing we've seen in the past 10 years is that there are new services that come to answer those needs. Services like transportation on demand, like Uber or Cabify, and also on-demand delivery services. But those businesses have really yet to become sustainable. So this is actually data from a US ride-hailing company. And you can see that no matter that they get bigger and bigger all the time and they're always growing, their unit economics, so the actual efficiency, doesn't actually improve. So the cost per ride is still very high. They haven't actually become profitable companies. And one of the things we look at, to answer your question, is the supply side. So how can you have a fleet that is efficiently serving your transportation and your logistic needs, and having that fleet be as well utilized as possible in order to actually serve those different requests from your employees and the goods that you need to move, and have that be done in a way that's actually efficient and actually can be sustainable in the long term. And maybe just to show one other example that's interesting when we look into this opportunity, is this is actually from one of our operations in South America. And one of the really interesting things we've seen is that there's a lot of unutilized supply. There's a lot of capacity in fleets that's not being used today. And it comes in maybe surprising places. So what we looked at here was a car sharing operation, so vehicles that are all around the city that can be rented to be used to move from place to place. And on the other side was the on-demand ride hailing, so a service like Cabify or Uber. And we're looking at the demand at each hour of the week for these two services. And you see a very interesting effect that actually at the exact hours that this car sharing operation is not being used, in the night times, on the weekends, the demand for transportation and for delivery services is actually at a peak. So if we want to create sustainable supply to actually power all the businesses that you need, there's a lot of vehicles around that can actually be used and can be used therefore in a very cost-effective and efficient way. And so that's the first thing that we look at is how can we take the supply that you have to move goods or people and have it be as well utilized as possible by serving as many different business models as we can.
So in other point of view, also this kind of efficiency on the logistics also can improve some other side effects like the ecology, for example, and also diesel consumption, and we can improve a lot of different things just besides the fleet itself. So Moshe, what is your point of view on this?
Gracias, Carlos. So Adam, first and foremost, congratulations. It seems like a very ambitious project. I kind of did a little bit background checking investigation on the top leader team of Autofleet. You all come out from the Get app that was very successful in Israel. So first and foremost, you present a mechanism that you say that works in South America. So you already do have a working product. You're not a pure startup in development. You already have a real product working.
Absolutely. We're already working with some of the largest fleets in the world. The ones we can disclose, we work with Avis Budget Group, the large rental company, Zipcar, which is one of the largest car sharing operators in the world, Suzuki, the car manufacturer, and we're already deployed and operating in over 10 different countries, both optimizing existing operations. What I mean by that is things like fleet logistics. Anybody who is managing a fleet today of any type, whether it's for commercial use or for corporate transportation, logistics, you have core challenges of cleaning vehicles, charging them, fueling vehicles, moving them between locations. And our platform comes in and really automates that process. And happy to share some more examples of means to improve fleet logistics. And then the second... Yeah.
Sorry to break through. Is it based on AI?
Absolutely. So that automation comes from predicting demand based on machine learning algorithms of where vehicles are actually needed and how many and when. And also then predicting the best time to do something like take the vehicle for maintenance. If you take the vehicle to be fixed at the shop at the wrong time, then it can't serve all the orders that you need to serve, and you're just causing unnecessary inefficiency. And so the next step then of the same solution is exactly taking those same fleet vehicles that are not being used from companies like rental companies like Avis Budget Group, and actually launching new on-demand services to fulfill things like last mile logistics demand. So we're able to take vehicles that already exist in a fleet that are just not being used right now and start actually supplying, instead of renting that vehicle out, actually supply a delivery. So for retailers, for companies that have to move goods, they can access new source of supply that can be provided efficiently from existing resources.
Wow, that is an amazing idea, and definitely one of the key aspects of your project is having this capacity that is not being used for a different company and being used in a different company for moving goods or people or whatever. So you improve the way of doing business for both companies, actually.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to create this win-win situation. Mm-hmm. So on the one side, we have a company that needs to move goods, for example. And on the other side, we have a fleet that has additional capacity. and can connect that capacity here and actually serve that. So maybe just to show you what that looks like, to make sure that we're page. So imagine you have a grocery store, and especially now we've seen people because of COVID-19, are less interested in going to the store physically. They want to do online delivery and orders. So we integrate to that grocery store so that the customer makes an order, and then it's immediately passed to Autofleet into a platform. Now we use those multiple layers of optimization based on AI to find the optimal vehicle and driver from the fleet. That could be provided by a rental company or a logistics company that has additional vehicles, and actually match that order to an available driver in a mobile app. So this whole logistics operation is automated, and it's, as you said, focused on providing a win for the retailer, who can now serve more orders, can provide more grocery deliveries at a faster time, and also for the fleet, who can now open a new business model and increase the utilization of the vehicles they already have.
Instead of just being... Sorry, Moshe.
How do you how does your AI retrieve the information? Do you use APIs?
Yeah, so we provide, as you can see in the two options here, delivery operations have been one of the core offerings, especially in the last few months, with the impact that this pandemic has had on the world. So we offer both a API that can just integrate to an existing operation. So a store that already has delivery operations and wants to access more supply to fulfill more orders can just maintain their same business and through our flexible API, send all of that information. Or we have a pre-integrated interface that we can provide to any operator who just wants to start immediately without any integration need.
So Adam, as far as I understand, if even more users or more companies are integrated into this platform, then the best result it will provide. Is that right?
Absolutely. Our goal is to first and foremost is to help fleets, and that's always been our focus. And that's why we don't just allow fleets to do things like this and launch new delivery operations, but we also help them really focus on their core business model, as I mentioned previously. So that includes things like optimizing their internal logistics and internal tasks that they need to perform on the fleet. So we're really focused on how we can help fleets open these new operations. But as we get more and more fleets, more available supply, then it makes it easier for more retail companies to just tap into that supply and start providing deliveries. And also, as we have more delivery orders coming through the platform, there's more benefit for fleets to easily start launching this new business model.
And let me comment something, Adam. Here in Baja, we have some issue regarding the fleets exactly, because some of the trucks goes north to, for example, let's say Los Angeles, and they need to come back. But sometimes they need, obviously the best way to do it is to have some loads from Los Angeles to Tijuana, for example. But the binational logistics is probably not the best way to coordinate, because we have two different rules, two different countries. So this kind of platform will just move away all these kind of restrictions. Is that right?
Definitely. I think it's the most important point is real-life logistics operations are very complex. You have to think about the traffic, you have to think about the capacity of the vehicle, how many packages can it carry, the route that it should take, regulations, exactly like you said, moving between borders, and knowing actually what, do you plan a route just based on going one direction, or do you try to plan a route to make sure the vehicle can be full in both directions? And that's what that complex problem we found is really appropriate to apply this type of capability of advanced AI-based optimization. And so, for example, predicting the demand in advance and knowing where bookings are likely to be, and then being able to schedule and match those orders to a vehicle before it's going to the location. So in the example you gave, making sure that as much as possible vehicles are not traveling empty, and filling up that capacity of the vehicle as much as possible.
That is perfect, because besides the ecological part, also we improve the traffic and the safety conditions, and it's a lot of different aspects that has been impacted by having this kind of solution. So, for example, let's say here in Tijuana, we have the border waiting time to cross to the United States. So that kind of time can be included into the formula or into the calculations of the total length of the ride?
Absolutely. And so even think of a basic question like, right now we've received an order and now we're matching it to the best and optimal vehicle in the fleet. So what goes into that decision is both the availability of the vehicle, so where is its current location, what's its capacity, so can it take this order, what other orders is it already scheduled to receive, and when do they need to be delivered. Also the requirements of the incoming order, so what's the delivery window, what type of good is it, maybe does it have specific requirements, and also the let's call it the infrastructure. So that includes the traffic, the other vehicles on the road, how we're traveling, and all the other vehicles in the fleet as well. So when we make that decision of matching a order to the vehicle, we're accounting for dozens of different factors that make that decision. And exactly, our platform is powered always by live traffic information. Wherever we operate around the world, we use different mapping providers like Google and Mapbox and Gear Technologies to calculate the accurate arrival time of the vehicle. So both the customer and fleet operator know when things are going to happen.
Wow, that is amazing. Moshe, what is your opinion on this?
Sounds amazing in
Really?
many levels. My intake is it's a very upgraded Uber system that not only makes taxi services better, but takes all the aspect of joint venture with the driver and a car that doesn't necessarily have to come from the same place, and put it in any service that you can think of. The trucking experience or the trucking improvement you talked about, Carlos, you actually took the question out of my mouth, is so true to our region, because most of the truck that we receive in Baja California, or most of the truck companies that come to Baja California, has the same problem. They go back empty.
Exactly.
So the price very expensive to bring stuff over to us up north, because they have to go back empty. So if a platform like this can give a very good, it seems like it can bring a very good solution into this logistics trucking company, will optimize their operation on logistics level, and will help us as consumers take the price way down. But this is only a scratch on the surface. You can go to any industry and have everybody, any person that has a free time, and any company that has or even an individual that has a free car, make them meet under a platform that does so much calculation that we cannot even start and go into every industry. It sounds like a very Hollywood future development you're working over here.
And actually, I'm glad you bring up the future, because it's definitely in our industry of on-demand mobility and logistics. There's a lot of buzz and excitement about autonomous vehicles. And what we see at the Autofleet, and the most important strategy, is how do you create the efficiencies that we hope to achieve when autonomous vehicles will be accessible, but do it with the traditional fleets and existing fleet assets that you have today. And so what's unique about the platform approach is that the Autofleet platform makes every decision for the fleet. So we don't have any dependency anymore on driver or manager decision making about which route to take, which order to accept, when to go to an area of high demand, even things like I said, when to fuel the vehicle or when to bring it to maintenance. All of these decisions are calculated by the platform. And so the driver is still driving and going from A to B, but we're able to achieve the efficiency of an autonomous fleet, but do it starting immediately today. And we don't need to wait for 5, 10, 15, 20 years until we can maybe see some of that actual efficiency come to our roads. Rather, we can do it for fleets that are already working and operating today and start doing it at scale immediately.
It's really amazing. And I have one question. For example, let's say one of the vehicles on the fleet has an accident on the freeway. I mean, the engine just stops. So what happens there? The platform has the ability to pull another vehicle nearby and probably do the transfer. Is that possible within the platform?
Yeah, so we have also, because fleets have many different types of vehicles and different types of technologies within those vehicles. So here I'm referring to like telematics or hardware devices that they're using in the fleet. So we're agnostic. We can integrate to any device that the fleet uses to be able to pull data from the vehicle in real time. And let's say, see that the vehicle has a mechanical issue or some sort of problem, and then make those calculations of reassigning the orders from that vehicle to other vehicles, changing the routes and dispatching other vehicles to that same area. We also have seen that some fleets don't have any hardware. And so they don't have anything in the vehicle that even sends location or fuel level. So we actually can take all of the basic information we need just from the driver's mobile app. So the location, speed, acceleration, we just take from the mobile Autofleet app that they're using. And therefore, we can have fleets actually deploy these type of services pretty much immediately, just in a few days. We don't have a long setup time if that's the goal for the fleet.
Wow, that is really amazing, Adam. And just another quick question for the implementation or deployment of the platform within a fleet that already exists. You mentioned there is almost just a few days just working with them. But what is usually the time frame for doing a complete deployment in a new fleet, for example?
Yeah, great question. And maybe within that, let me even take a step back and just detail what are the three also solutions that we provide today. So we've kind of talked about all three of them so far, but the first one supported by the platform is a simulator. So often fleets making a decision to, let's say, launch a new business model, or let's take the problem that we just talked about now. You have trucks going back and forth between across the border, and want to see an opportunity to actually match more orders so that they travel full both ways. And want to see what revenue potential there is, how that will change the number of vehicles you need in the fleet, what type of demand you need to recruit in order to actually fill up those trucks with bookings. So before actually making an operational change, which is expensive, we can just simulate that operation using live traffic data, using the real orders, using the details of the vehicles, and to create an accurate result before even making any change of vehicles on the road. So that's a great place that fleets often start. This takes like 4 days from start to finish to just take that data, provide an answer of this is the potential implementation and opportunity that you have. And that's often a great first step.
It sounds like you're a 3D model for manufacturing.
We're not there yet. But what the simulator does take into account is
you can tell me through your system and calculation and preparation how the operation will be before I try to do it. So it's like the 3D model that we do in production to know before we go to production. That's the same way of thinking.
Absolutely, and that's the idea, to gain confidence before you actually make an expensive change, right? Before you purchase vehicles or try to change the territory of operation, to know it's going to happen before you actually make the investment in infrastructure and actual costs. So that's often a great first easy step to get going. And then the next product that we provide, we call Vehicle as a Service. And that really focuses on that fleet logistics optimization. So going to a fleet that operates today and automating how they do the servicing of the fleet, when to move vehicles between locations. And this is something we've implemented previously in about 2 to 3 weeks. It really is a pretty quick plug and play kind of solution, even with large thousands of vehicles operations. And then finally, and this is what we talked about of taking that vehicle supply and launching new on-demand business services like on-demand deliveries and rides with Ride as a Service. And this also is something that we've seen implemented in just a few weeks. I should say, especially now in COVID-19, we've had fleets in almost every continent of the world quickly take this opportunity when they saw their normal business disappear to start launching new delivery services and doing that in really just a few days.
That is true, Adam. And for example, let's say talking about a little bit into the future, Adam. The autonomous vehicle like the Tesla, for example. So soon enough, we will see some trucks also doing this kind of autonomous operation. So for that kind of technology, this platform can be integrated within?
Yeah, absolutely. The sentence we like to say is we don't make autonomous vehicles, we tell them where to go. And we're always going to need that platform that manages and optimizes the fleet of autonomous vehicles to calculate their routes, to assign them jobs and orders, and to tell the vehicle and when it should recharge or refuel, or send a technician to the vehicle to check the camera if it has an issue. And as we transition to that autonomous future, we're probably going to see many phases where we need maybe less and less human intervention in the actual driving, but we're going to need a human intervention in a lot of other parts. So there will become new jobs, like instead of a fleet operator who cleans vehicles today, maybe you have somebody who has to come and fix cameras, or they have to update the software. And all of those things also needs to be managed as part of an autonomous vehicle.
That is great. So in that case, because we have one question here from some of the viewers, so in that case, the driver is only kind of a supervisor for the autonomous vehicle. Is that right?
Exactly, and I mentioned this before, but the way we've designed the platform is even today, every decision is actually made by the platform. So even today with a traditional vehicle, we call it the first traditional autonomous vehicle. That, all of which route to take, when to drive to a certain area, all of the actual decisions are made through the platform. So the driver is the operator. They actually drive the vehicle from A to B. But all of the actual smart optimization is done by the platform. And so for our perspective, once we can remove that driver from the vehicle, it's really the same platform. It's just one more constraint that we can remove and unlock more efficiency for the fleet.
So, but as you mentioned before, Adam, instead of removing jobs, it will create even more high-paid jobs, like as you mentioned before. For example, they say like update the software or repair some damaged cameras, or just do some kind of tech or high-tech job within the unit. So actually, that is something great. Because most people is just afraid of new technologies because they believe they will just remove the jobs, but actually it will create more high paid jobs. So that's at least as I see it. Moshe, so how's your point of view? You are very quiet. We cannot hear you, Moshe.
As I said, it's a little bit Hollywood future, but nevertheless, it's here. My first question was if they have a product working. He said, and Adam gave us a straight answer that they're working in 10 different countries. I can definitely see where you're going, and I can definitely see who is going to either invest on you or buy you out, because that's sorry for my friends, that's freaking amazing what you're doing over here. But it seems like you need a lot of mechanism to integrate to make it work. So we do have a little bit timeline to work over here before it can be realistic. For this amazing system to develop, you need a lot of participation.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge that we think about often. But what we've seen is that, let's take the most simple case, and one relevant to what's going on right now. You have your local store, let's say grocery store, that now needs to either offer deliveries for the first time, or maybe has more delivery demand than they had before. Because again, people are not going physically to the store as much as they did previously. So you have your local store. And then you have a local fleet. So that could be maybe a rent company, it could be a logistics fleet that isn't doing as much of their normal business. So we have demand from a store, we have supply from the fleet. And even just with 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 vehicles, this is generating revenue that from a vehicle that's previously unused. So really the question of getting started, that's something, as I mentioned, can get started in a few days. There's not a large investment here to get going. There's not so many moving parts. And so we are definitely building towards a future where we can have much larger systems of this working at hundreds of thousands of vehicles, more than the thousands of vehicles today. But even just with a few vehicles, we want to work with fleets and help them generate revenue that they're not generating now.
Adam, and I have another question from my point of view. You developed this amazing platform in Israel. So what was your main motivation to create something like this? What kind of problem did you saw to be solved? And then you realized this platform as a solution?
Yeah, definitely. So we mentioned that we had previously come from the ride-hailing background from the company Get. It's been successful in a few different countries. And also one of our founders actually came from Avis. And Autofleet was really founded at the intersection of these two worlds. So we saw that on-demand apps like Get and Uber and Cabify and delivery apps, etc., provide a great customer service, but there's also a lot of inefficiencies that come with them. So one we talked about before, of this problem of profitability. None of these companies have really been able to be sustainable business-wise. And the other challenge is the inefficiency that also we feel on our cities. So in the United States especially, there's been a lot of research that shows that apps like this actually cause more congestion, more vehicles on the road, because vehicles are traveling looking for the next ride or the next order, and they're just traveling empty because they don't have a way to optimize. And this also makes more pollution, so more vehicles traveling around.
Yep.
And when we actually looked at the other side of the industry, so fleets, we saw kind of the opposite problem. You have hundreds of thousands of vehicles just not being used at any given time, and especially at peaks or times like off tourism season. You have so many vehicles that could be put to use and are just collecting more depreciation. And so our motivation was really to bridge this gap, is to take vehicles from traditional fleets and enable them to start opening these new services and powering the demand coming from these platforms, which isn't always served as efficiently as it can.
I see. Well, that is a great idea, actually. Moshe, we're about to close, so do you have any final comment?
I pretty much summed up my opinion. I was amazed as you, Carlos. It's a very, very interesting initiative. I don't see where it can fail. Overlooking the efficiency of companies and making them make more money on their same infrastructure. maybe one question to make your life a little bit complicated. How do you ensure that you have multiple users on the same vehicle that everybody will respect? Or how does your automated system make the human user respect the vehicle that he's temporarily using?
That's a fantastic and very real question. So one of the things we've actually seen when technology is managing that process of when a driver, for example, is starting their shift and starting to work on a vehicle, and also telling that driver when to end their shift and go back to the parking location, is that we can also introduce more control. So, for example, when a driver is notified through the app that they should go to a certain vehicle and start driving to take delivery orders, for example, they also receive a checklist of things that they need to check and confirm in the vehicle, even upload photos of the vehicle, both inside and outside, before they can start and activate their shift. And same at the end. So at the end of the shift, the driver is also told to take inside and outside photos. And so we have a paper trail. We have a clear way to track what happened and when. And obviously in real life, nothing's going to be perfect. But at least through technology, we have a way of tracking it and being able to actually know what happened and when happened and who it happened with, to try to take some of the risk out of it.
Wow.
Carlos, I have one question, if I can.
Of course.
Do you see in your future the possibility of for the system to be better, to put cameras within the vehicle? And if yes, don't you think it's too much invasive for the privacy of the operator?
I think I'll give the best answer to that question, which is we try to make sure that's not going to be our problem. But to answer more seriously, our goal is really to be the platform that optimizes and decides and assigns tasks to the fleet. And one thing that's very exciting in our industry now, within mobility and logistics, is all of the advanced technology that you find of in-vehicle cameras or driver behavior detection using those cameras, or even there's a startup in Israel that automatically detects bad smells in vehicles to be able to assign them to be clean. So with all of this explosion of new technology around vehicles and mobility, it provides a great opportunity for us, which is our strategy to be very open and integrate to those solutions. So we want to be the best at optimizing and managing the fleet and directing it where to go, and then be able to integrate to those additional great solutions that tell us when a vehicle needs to be cleaned, or tell us when a driver's falling asleep at the wheel, and we can take advantage of their expertise and use it to power what the value that we provide.
And comment, and additionally to that, Adam, for example, on my cars, I do have a camera for traffic, for any kind of collisions. So I have a witness there. So, but that is a standalone technology because I need to actually play it to see what happened. But if we can integrate those kind of cameras within the system, I mean within your platform, that actually make a great advantage. Because, for example, let's say taking that idea, for example, here in Tijuana, one of the major issues that we have with the fleets going north to California, for example, is when the truck has finished goods, they have to comply with the CBP, or the CTPAT, which is counterterrorism or smuggling. So the idea is to avoid any drugs crossing or drugs smuggling. So the driver needs to comply with certain rules, for example, the logs, the photos, all the evidence of the logs regarding the container or the truck itself. So that kind of information, like the pictures and that kind of information, can be integrated within the app?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the really great trend that we see in the industry, is that there's more and more technology like that, which just allows us to be smarter and smarter in how we support fleets. So, for example, right, as soon as we have a camera that's able to automatically check the vehicle or automatically certify it, then we can ingest that information and send it, for example, to other systems. And we're able to, we talk a lot today about connected vehicle. What's a connected vehicle? That are we putting an IoT device in? So connected vehicle is only worth it if we know what to do with that data. We need to be able to take that data and actually do smart use cases with it. And that's really what we're focused on, is how can we turn that data about your vehicle has a mechanical issue or your tire is losing pressure, and actually turn it into something smart of sending you a technician who can come and maybe fix your flat tire while your vehicle is parked, or sending you a notification before things even happen. And that's really where we fit.
Wow. Moshe?
Sorry, I put it in mute so you won't hear the background noises.
That's okay.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. I don't know about you, Carlos.
Definitely, it's a really amazing solution for many kind of problems. We already discussed about the fleet, about the opportunities for making more money instead of just being there, and obviously solve a lot of problems just moving merchandise around. So definitely, it's a very, very thought solution. And Adam, probably here in Baja, we will have some business for you. Definitely moving merchandise around within the Mexico itself. As probably you know, Tijuana is just in the north portion of Mexico. So just having groceries or different kind of products to Tijuana is complex because it's actually very far away from everyone. And also moving the finished goods to California, for example, it's also another part of the solution that you might have with this application, with this app. So definitely, we congratulate you. It's an amazing solution that you have there, and definitely we would like to see some of those working here in Baja. So. Just give us the idea where to point, and we will definitely join your solution within Baja.
We'd like to be there too, and hopefully soon travel restrictions will go away, and we'll be able to come also in person and visit as well. But we would love to talk to any company, fleet operator of any type, in logistics, in rental, in leasing, and see how we could work together and try to add value. Our website is autofleet.io. Please feel free to reach out to me directly, and really look forward to trying to help solve some problems in the region.
Great, Adam. And by the way, when you are here, we will invite you to have some very nice food. What we call Baja cuisine, and Moshe is aware of this amazing experience. And also we have very good wine. So if you like red wine, we have very nice tasting wines.
Magnifico.
Great, Moshe. Do you have any final comment?
Yeah, I think that maybe I'm talking in behalf of Carlos also.
No, please.
If you find yourself coming over here to the region, I guess we can get you a couple of meetings with very interesting companies.
Definitely.
Big, anywhere from private users to huge logistic companies. There's trucking companies, huge over here, huge. I'm talking thousands and thousands of truck. There's a system like you can upgrade them more than 10 years ahead on their efficiency. And Carlos said we're looking forward for the restriction to fall off. It affects us a lot living here in this region and having you here. And Carlos, I want to take this opportunity and thank you again for inviting me to be a part of this panel. Even though my background is from Israel, I never knew about this company before. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, definitely walking on the right direction for their future. And
Definitely.
Ours also.
Thank you so much, Moshe, for being with us today. You have been an amazing co-hosting, so thank you. And Adam, we congratulate you, really congratulations on your project. It's really amazing, and we see a lot of good opportunities here in Mexico, and also probably here in California as well. So you are very welcome anytime you want to be here with us. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate speaking with you, and look forward to the next conversation.
okay, please don't leave because we have some other questions here on the Zoom platform. But to our friends on the social media, we thank you for being with us today. Tomorrow we will have another amazing presentation and another guest that will give us very key information regarding what kind of opportunities we can have from Israel within to Mexico. So be safe and have a great day.